It began with a girl who was never meant to be seen. In From Blood and Ash, Jennifer L. Armentrout didn't just write a fantasy romance. She rewrote the rules of the genre. In a world divided by gods and monsters, she was meant to be neither. The Maiden, veiled, sacred, forbidden to touch or be touched. They said her destiny was divine, that her life was not her own. But behind every temple wall lies a truth that trembles beneath gold and marble. And for Poppy, truth would become her first act of rebellion. In a kingdom that worships silence, her curiosity was the loudest sin of all. The whispers of the ascended carried through the night like prayer, and somewhere beyond that silence, a heartbeat answered back. The city of Macedonia stood on bones older than its faith. Lanterns burned low, and every door locked against the unseen. They said the Ascended protected the realm from the craven, but the streets told a different story. Blood vanished from the gutters as quickly as rumor. The Golden Ones smiled, but their eyes were hungry, and in that hunger, Poppy learned to keep her head bowed until one night, when a stranger's gaze lifted it instead. The man who called himself Hawke would become her undoing and her deliverance. He moved like danger wrapped in charm, a soldier's body and a liar's smile. Hawke Flynn, the new guard, sworn to protect her virtue, but there was nothing virtuous about the way his shadow lingered. Where the Ascended spoke of purity, he spoke of freedom. And with every stolen glance, every forbidden word, Poppy's faith began to fracture like stained glass. Because beneath his armor, Hawke was hiding something ancient, and it was staring straight at her. When the truth came, it didn't whisper, it bled. The Ascended, gods of light, they claimed, were nothing but hunger given crowns. And Hawke, the man she thought her enemy, was the prince of the kingdom she'd been taught to fear. Casteel Da'Neer, the Dark One, the name mothers use to frighten children. But in his eyes, she saw no monster, only the truth she'd been denied. Freedom, dressed in shadows and sin. Love is a weapon, and she learned to wield it. Their bond was forged in blood and betrayal, the kind of trust that cuts deeper than steel. Every choice she made from that moment forward was carved from defiance. They were no longer guard and maiden. They were two forces colliding, faith and freedom, desire and destiny. And when she kissed him, it wasn't surrender. It was declaration, a promise that the gods themselves would tremble to hear. Long before mortals built temples, the gods built wars. Life and death were once siblings, born of the same divine flame. But when the gods vanished, their echoes lingered in bloodlines, in prophecy, in those marked by fire. Poppy's gift was not a blessing, it was a calling. She could feel pain, sense death, and bear the weight of both. The Ascended claimed it was holiness, but holiness never screamed. Holiness never burned. And as her power awakened, the gods began to stir again. Their voices soft and wrathful, carried on the wind that whispered her name. They say every lie hides a truth too terrible to speak. Behind the ascension, behind the thrones, there was a hunger older than any kingdom. The Ascended drank from the living, their beauty fed by the suffering they sanctified. The craven, the monsters in the woods, were their discarded remnants, drained of life, yet cursed to walk. And when Poppy learned this truth, The world itself seemed to tilt. Everything holy became unholy, and the veil between life and death began to tear. Not all monsters wear fangs, and not all gods wear crowns. The crown of blood was more than a relic. It was a promise, forged from the bones of rebellion, worn by those who dared to love in defiance of divinity. When Casteel knelt before Poppy, it wasn't surrender. It was revolution disguised as devotion. Two cursed lovers standing before gods who had long forgotten mercy. And as their bond deepened, the lines between power and passion blurred, her blood answering his, their souls bound in a language older than prayer. What began as captivity became coronation. When From Blood and Ash first appeared, it didn't just catch readers, it consumed them. The novel bridged two worlds, the intricate lore of high fantasy and the emotional intensity of romance. It drew in readers who wanted both, the magic and the madness, the swords and the slow burn. Armentrout built not only a romance, but an empire of mythology. The series has expanded into multiple kingdoms, pantheons, and timelines, intertwining gods, curses, and bloodlines that stretch far beyond the first book. What makes it powerful isn't the shock of its twists, but the heartbeat beneath them. At its core, From Blood and Ash is about reclaiming agency, about a girl raised to serve who learns instead to lead. In every tale of gods and monsters, there's a moment when faith breaks and something new takes its place. From Blood and Ash begins with obedience and ends with awakening. It's a reminder that even in fantasy, the truest magic comes from choosing your own story. This has been Lore and Legend. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the realms where love and destiny intertwine, don't forget to subscribe for more worlds beyond the veil. Next, we descend into the echoes of Ireland and the haunting cry that foretells death. The banshee's call